Nice. Evening, everyone. Mats, hey, how's it going? Nadia, nice to see you. Adja, nice to see you here as well. And Jack Crasher, famous person. One of the most knowledgeable. If you need help with any kind of questions regards to text or any kind of scriptures, Jack is the guy to ask. I basically use him as a live dictionary. Just kidding with you, but he is really good at that stuff. How's everyone been? You had a good weekend? I just came in from, we have some hens in the garden and they refuse to sleep in their hen cage, so they're sleeping outside the door here. They kind of like to be near where I sit sometimes. And it's raining and it's poor weather. I just feel sorry for them. Hopefully they'll be okay anyway. Oops. Jack, snow has come and gone, so it's good. Come and gone. You were in Iceland, right? Or where were you? Can't remember. We haven't had snow yet. We had last week, we got minus, I think we had minus 10 Celsius. So it's like really cold and we just had ice. And then we'd had a warm fall, and then so no one has their winter tires on, and then like bam, everyone has to go and put their winter tires on, and it's always the same thing. Everyone waits. Which is a bit of poor planning, and yeah, I'm guilty as well, so that's fine. I had an interesting talk with someone just recently who was into the law of attraction and creating things, and she said that I said something wrong. And I remember when I was thinking this way as well. We were talking about, I said that, well, when I have lots of money, I'll go and do, if I ever have lots of money, I'll go and do this like every month because it's good for me to do that. Like it was taking care of my body. He said, like, no, you're saying it wrong. You should say, I have lots of money, so I can't do that. And I always thought that, I mean, I haven't always thought, I used to think that when it came to the law of attraction, that it was important to kind of envision. And I remember I would have an image in my mind and I would go, I would like really try to make that real and like try to feel it, like what would it feel like that, oh yes, like I made it, or like I did something, and I would try to feel those feelings. And nowadays I just can't do that because first of all, you have to get away from now, like to do a visualization. Like, okay, you forget that now is real, and you go into a fantasy in your head, and then you're trying to create a distortion towards it so that you feel this kind of tension when that happens. And my approach nowadays is simply that I don't try to create anything, like, or I want this to happen. If anything, I just look at how am I feeling towards things that I want, and if I feel any kind of tension, oh, I need that, or I really wish that could happen, then I make sure I kind of clean that distortion so that I can sit in calmness with that thought, if there's a thought about something. And then the funny thing is many times those things happen, but it's not that I'm trying to do something spiritual so I'll get something in the outside world. It's more that I'm making sure I feel good, and then maybe something happens in the outside world that reflects that, but that's fine. Like the main thing is that I feel good. Oh, someone's written. Adja wrote, it's a drag on gas mileage, so it's okay. Yeah, it does take more gas, but it is like when it's slippery here, it's really slippery, so you really need it. It's like it's a ice skating. Mats had an exam this morning. Oh, nice. It was pretty easy, but what was really awesome was that I could practice feeling joy during it. In the past, these things just stressed me out. It was a really nice change. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. For those of you who weren't here, last week we spoke to Mats about this. He said how to deal with like exams. And we said it's just things happening. When you have the story of, oh my God, it's an exam, if I fail, it can be so terrible. But actually being able to go in there and still feel, oh, it's nice to be here, it's a beautiful place, and I'm just sitting, I'm writing things and not stressing about it, then it's just something you're doing without the whole story behind it. You still have to answer the questions, and you're not going to be talking to some divine correct answer list that you can just kind of answer from, but you will feel much better doing it. And generally speaking, the mind works much better when you like that. That's very nice to hear, Mats. Happy to hear that. Jack is saying, I am moving a lot this year, mostly to Central Europe now, so when I entered there with snow and icy roads, and now there is like plus 15. Yeah, that seems to be the weather here nowadays. It just goes whoosh, up and down a lot. But it is interesting with I think the whole creating things, because we focus so much, even though we kind of, okay, I get it, I'm supposed to feel joy now no matter what happens. It's still this thought in the back, like, yeah, but maybe if I feel good about it, then I can get the thing that I want. And it's so ingrained that when this happens, then I can be happy. It's very difficult for us to feel just enjoyment from being without having something special to happen. And that's not to say that you should stop working towards things that you find enjoyable or useful or a good use of your time. I'm not saying sit still on your couch and watch Netflix all day, but focus on things you really enjoy doing, and do them because you enjoy doing them, not because you're looking forward to feeling when you succeed in doing them. It's like helping others because you feel good if you're able to help them, instead of helping others because you like helping others. They can feel that when you come to someone and you try to help them because you need them to heal so that you can feel good, compared to you feeling good and helping them because you enjoy helping and giving to others. Very big difference. Mats is saying, I found another avenue of working on my distortions. Dating, oh, I can imagine. It's just packed to the brim with distortions. But it can be so much fun if you can let go. I can imagine. I am very fortunate because I'm dating. I'm engaged to a woman who also happens to be the mother of my 2 children. So dating, I think she'd disagree with it if I said dating. I mean, I would disagree with it. But I'm very fortunate in that we can actually talk about these things, and we can say, oh, I have distortions about this, or this is something that I feel uncomfortable with, or if the other person does something that hurts the other one, we can bring it up and we can discuss it. And sometimes it's something that, like, okay, I know this is unreasonable, but I still feel bad about it. So could you help me look at that? And then we can look at it. Or sometimes it's something that, actually, I don't like it when you do this. Could we do something about this? And then that goes for both parties. It's not just me being able to say that. Obviously, she can also say that. So it's, yeah, it's difficult finding. And it seems like today, like I'm 46 now, and I see people meet each other online and that kind of stuff. I hear people who search for people online. It just seems so weird. I'm like, are there no normal people out there? Like, how do you just find and that's what I hear a lot of people say. How do I just find a normal person? Like, just someone who's like a decent, kind person I don't have to worry about, like they're going to run off with someone else, or that they're going to be weird, or like just crazy people. Just like a normal person who's just kind. Like that's most people are that's what most people are asking for. But it seems to be very difficult to find that today. So I can imagine there's a lot of distortion in dating. Mats, I had to delete all online dating apps though. Oh, but offline is a bit trickier. It takes a bit of courage to approach a stranger, especially if it's a beautiful woman. Absolutely, yeah, it is. That's a really good place to look at distortion, for sure. And a really useful place also, because if you can actually interact with someone, it's so much nicer when you can be with someone and not feel distortion. And when you have a relationship, it's not like that stops. I mean, I've been together with my fiancé for 9 years, and we still look at it like a lot the whole time, and just feeling also attraction, like sexual attraction. There is something behind that, I want you, and if you can let go of that, like, I need you, there is something very, very beautiful behind that is not a raw sexual power, but connection. Like what's left when you take away the sexual attraction is it's connection. If there is a connection there, if there's nothing except sexual connection, then, I mean, sexual attraction, then maybe that would be difficult. I don't actually know. But yeah, you can really look at these things in a relationship, and you can deepen it so much. I have never had a relationship like I do now, and a lot of that is because we've just been looking at all these things coming up, and then going through all these things, and just having absolute trust in each other. It's so nice. I've never had a relationship where I don't worry about, like, we can, yeah, there's just no worry about that from either side, because we just know where we have each other. And like, it seems like how we're not going to convince ourselves that, oh, there's someone out there who has no problems whatsoever. They're going to be perfect and everything is going to be rosy and it's going to be like so nice. You're just kidding yourself if you think that. And if you've spent so much time with someone and actually managed to find a way to see them for who they are and enjoy seeing them for who they are, then why would you jump around, like just find something else? It makes sense then to work on something, a relationship, I mean. Jack, was there something of becoming bhikkhu that was like not specific in the scripture? Buddha says in his last sermon that he taught with his palm open, but this I think was considering civil. Was there something of becoming bhikkhu that was like not specified in the scriptures? Buddha says in his last scripture. I don't know what you mean, Jack. Are you referring to the ceremony of becoming ordained, or are you talking about something else that I'm missing? I'm not sure. But nice you're doing dating, Mats. And nice you're looking at it, because it really is so much more. Or let's say Mats is writing. Do you have any tips on how to summon the courage? I feel a very big distortion of not wanting to bother anyone. I tried focusing on my breath, but that didn't spur any action. I'm a really big proponent in the courage to approach a woman. I mean, I understand completely. I'm a really big proponent of practicing outside of the situation, meaning the distortion or the feeling of discomfort or fear that you feel is the same if you're sitting in the sofa watching a movie as it is when you're actually approaching a woman. So you can actually work with, I do either like you practice with someone else, or we would go through an exercise where we would try to see like what does it feel like, what comes up when you do these things, and what does that feeling, where do you feel it, and how does it come up, and what's the basis from it, is there any direction to it, and then you can look at that and see like, hey, wait, it's just there, I am creating it, and you can see that it happens even though you're not actually approaching someone. It's just, we're just talking about it. And you can watch a movie where they have this, and you can really feel it, and then you meditate, you see, okay, they're going up the street, and you can feel this like this feeling, and then you pause the movie and you just sit and you try to let go of it, and you just feel what it feels like to experience this feeling, and learning that you're the one creating it. And then after that, it is exactly the same as you did when you did the meditate. I mean, enjoying going to the exam. It's the same thing. Going up to a beautiful woman, it's exactly the same thing. You're just going up. I mean, it doesn't have to be a beautiful woman. Anyone who you're worried about going up to them, there's this fear, what like very likely it's like rejection, or that I'll seem dumb, or whatever it is. But if you take that away, the whole story is just you walking, and there's another person standing there, and trust me, like many beautiful women, they have a really hard time because men act so strange around them that it's difficult to just have someone act normal. So someone not coming up and wanting something from them. But I mean, obviously you're approaching her because you're interested in some way. But yeah, just looking at that and seeing that it's just a normal person is very interesting. See, hey, my mama, teaching strict for the. Okay, let's see. The courage approach. I'm not sure if I answered that much, but yeah, it's basically the same as going to the exam. It's just things happening. You're just moving there. And, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say this. So instead of focusing on you're going up to a beautiful woman and you're either trying to avoid being rejected, or you're trying to get her phone number, or getting her to say something, or getting her to be interested. Instead of having an outcome like as the goal of going there, focus on the experience. You're just going there, and you're just looking at the person, and without the feeling, oh, I need something from them. But it's just, oh, I talk to this person and see who they are. It might be that they're really uptight. Some girls are like that because they get so many guys approaching them. They just like, yeah. And some are just like, why would you spend time with them? Just because they look good, that doesn't mean that's enough. I mean, that's when you're a teenager, yes, I understand. But when you get older, you need someone you can actually talk to and spend time with, and who you enjoy being with. So going out and talking to them, and like, it's just distortion. It's the same as the exam, but it's a bit more primal in the fear. My mama, I really had some highlights this week too. I actually used your feeling joy approach in my yoga class during a guided meditation. My students really liked it, and me as well. Nice. Jack, one thing is talking to civilians, and the other is teaching the monks in the cluster. I mean, if there's, sorry, Jack was saying before, teaching strict for the monks, there is not specified other way than living the way of the Dharma. So when I was ordained, I had this belief. I remember it clearly that I thought, okay, I'm a monk now. I'm waiting for those, those secret meetings where we don't say this stuff to other people. Like there's secret meetings where the monks sit and they discuss things, like the secrets, the stuff you have to be a monk to kind of get to know about. And I waited for those meetings for like 6 years and they never happened. They're like, there's no secret meetings. Most monks are just busy being clergy, like guardians of the Dhamma. They just continue the teachings of the Buddha by teaching them, but they don't actually, the practice for them is mostly to have the precepts and to do the things you're supposed to do as a bhikkhu, as a monk, but actually practicing meditation and going in and doing that, like most of the monks I met did not do that, and there was no knowledge that was kept from me when I was not a monk that I could then get when I was a monk. If anything, there was in the Burmese traditions, the Mahasi traditions, there's some maps and maps you follow when you meditate, the things you go through, and those were not readily shared with lay people. But it wasn't readily shared with monks either. You kind of had to be either a monk who was teaching meditation, or just have like a general chat with someone who was open to discussing it, because most of the time that was simply not shared. And there are, I mean, there's an argument for knowing the things that you run into, and there's an argument against knowing the things you will run into when you meditate. So I can see both sides of that. But no, there was no big difference. No, Ajay, I'm sorry. There were no secret meetings. And it was so funny because I clearly remember that I was thinking, where are they? When are they going to come? Like, I was expecting, because you kind of become a monk and you think that there's going to be some kind of secret, something they're not telling everyone else. But that didn't happen. For me, being a monk is nothing holy. There's nothing special about it. But it is, the main thing about being a monk is that you get the opportunity and the ability to practice fully with yourself in a way that you cannot do as a layperson. It's just not possible to go and meditate like I did sometimes 15, 16 hours per day. It's difficult to explain how difficult it is to do something for 16 hours per day. Like I thought, like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do it. Even 12 hours per day. It's difficult to do something for 12 hours per day and still take care of yourself. It's strenuous to do it also. So doing it that much, you kind of need a support system around you. You can do it for 1 day or 2 days or a few days, but eventually you need to take care of your stuff. But when you're living in a center like that, that is the opportunity that you have. And it's up to you to do something with it. And like I said, most of the monks I met, they did not do that. They were Buddhists. They taught Buddhism. They taught the scriptures, and it was basically self-help. Meaning this part, I talk about how your reality and your desire for reality, like you can do self-help, meaning that you can learn how to do your skill better, you can know how to focus on things or see things differently to make yourself more successful. And then you have the spiritual approach, which is basically change your beliefs about things. And Buddhism did these two things. They did very little with actually working on the distortion between those two things, which is what I call distortion or dukkha or suffering. So yeah, they just did what everyone else did. Most of the monks, I mean, not all, absolutely. There were some monks who were very skilled in observing themselves in meditation. Matt is saying, I think they teach the galactic hidden knowledge technique at secret meetings. Really couldn't use that one today. Yeah. One of the perks of being a monk is my brother would actually say, when he went out to the pub, he used that as a pickup line, saying that he had a brother who was a monk, and that was apparently a really good pickup line. So you can say that I know a monk. We kind of know each other personally, so you can say, I have a friend who's a monk. And that's a good pickup line I've heard. Jack, some elder monks from Thailand I spoke to talked about the 11 stages of knowledge, but he was very vague about the concepts of what is happening with the subject of training. I think 11 stages of knowledge, I'm not sure if he's talking about the jnanas And jnana means knowledge of, and that's the maps. There's like, I guess it's 11 main stages, I think it is, but it's actually like 16 if you divide up in some smaller things. There's different ways of viewing that, but that would be the knowledge of. So I think that's what he was talking about, and it's not really shared that much because, yeah, like I said, advantages and disadvantages to knowing. Ajahum is saying, simple is not necessarily easy. Oh, that is so true. So the instructions are the same. The commitment to it may be intense to them. So it seems, yeah, it is. You're giving such an opportunity when you're living as a monk, and I feel that it's unfortunately become a religion, where it's more important to be a monk and following the rules than actually looking inside and seeing the things that happen and doing something with that. No, it's fine, Jack. I like these questions. So, time is flying as usual, even though time is still. Well, time isn't, there is no movement in time, but time is changing. It's like it's just this moment now that just keeps evolving, and it's stillness kind of, it's just there, and it just keeps changing, but there's no sense of movement of time. So when time flies, it's just here, and it just keeps coming up, and we don't feel that it's moving. That's like the main difference. And when you're in a non-centric state or non-dual state, you really feel solid. It's almost like you can touch this moment. It's almost like a tangible quality to this moment when you're really honing in. And I don't mean like, oh, just I'm in the present moment, I'm feeling the air and watching the birds and stuff. Like, no, really, when you just drop into it and this center point disappears, there is a tangible feeling to now. Jack, probably nothing to talk about, only the experience of the years of practice and life in solitude. Yeah, I guess. So, for those of you who are new, we start with a little chat before. Then we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a method to focus on our senses without the sense of a self coming in and distorting our reality. And I'll say them out aloud, and you can say them together with me. Obviously what you're seeing or feeling or touching on your end. After that, today is Monday, so we'll sit for 20 minutes together, and I'll be guiding you. And you can, of course, do your own meditation if you want to. And then we have another question and answer after. So, to begin with, 5 things that I can see. And it's important you say these out aloud if you're able to. If you cannot, then that's fine as well. But it's good to really say them out aloud so you stop and observe the things you're seeing. It's not about checking off, oh, I saw that, I did that. It's really about being aware that you're seeing and looking at what you're seeing without the sense of me coming in and wanting to judge it. And I don't mean judge as in a concept. I mean judge as in a feeling. Oh, I like this. I don't like this. I'm neutral about this. That's also a judgment. So I see a dirty sock on my floor. I see a screwdriver. I see a box. I see a pair of glasses. And I see a clamp. There's 5 things that I could see. Next we take 4 things that we can feel. And here you're really trying to sink into the feeling of feeling. To really feel, what does it feel like to experience? I can feel the fingers as I'm moving them against each other. And really see what kind of sensations are there. There's lots of sensations. I can feel dryness. I can feel that there's something sharp on my thumb, like a little flake here that's scratching. I can almost feel the fingerprints, like the coarseness of my fingers. I can feel there's a wound here or something that's been cut. So really experiencing and use your senses. We are so used to being lost in our thoughts. Even thinking that, oh, I'm doing it for a better good. I'm lost in my thoughts because I'm manifesting my reality. And you're missing your reality. You're missing what's happening around you. So really feel, what does it feel like to feel this? And see if you can do it without any kind of distortion towards it, but just clearly seeing it there. It's just a feeling. And if you feel any kind of tension or any kind of, like, you can almost feel it when you start wanting it to be a certain way, then that's the thing we're trying to not do. So look at that and see, what is that? Why are you tensing up against that? Or what's happening here? So I can feel my fingers moving against each other. I can feel itching here. No, it's here also. I can feel my hands touching the blanket on my knees. And then when you put it like touching the thing, you can lift your hand up a little, or if you're using your hand, you can lift it a little bit higher so you're not pressing so hard. And feel, what does that feel like? And then you can press it down really hard and see, what does that feel like? We're just trying to see what it's like to use our senses without a direction, without a purpose, or without trying to get something from it. We're just trying to see with our senses, just trying to experience our reality with our senses. I can feel this cable. There's so many qualities when you use your senses. You can feel a lot of things that we don't really pay attention to normally. So that was 4 things that I could feel. 3 things that we can hear. And here I ask you to listen to the sounds and really look for nuances. Not just check, 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 but actually, can you hear a sound within the sound? Or can you hear, I can hear the rain falling on the office that I'm sitting in. And I can hear how it's hollow on that end. And it's different over there. It feels more solid. I can hear the whole wagon is shaking a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the wind or maybe the chickens are jumping around outside. Something is moving the shed. If my daughter were here, she'd say it was a werewolf who was pushing on it, or something like that. I can hear another sound from outside the office where it sounds like larger water droplets falling on that metal. Yeah, so really looking around, what can you hear when you listen? After that, we take 2 things that we can smell. And now we're getting to the senses where we really need to pay attention, because our smell and our taste are things that we just don't use very much. It's more of it's just there kind of, and every now and then when there's something really intense we notice it. But actually smelling and looking for scents and tasting, something we don't do very often. So I can smell there's a sweet smell, almost a bit old sweet, like something sweet has been lying around too long in the sun. And constantly throughout this, always look at, are you carrying any tension? I have a lot of tension in my neck and my shoulders because of my neck injury, but anywhere you feel tension, just throughout meditation, make sure you let go of it. See, I can smell the sweetness and you smell fabric. It smells like old fabric. Finally, we take one thing that we can taste. I can taste strawberry. So we'll be doing a breathing meditation together, and this is not a breath work. It's not a meditation where we will be using our breath and try to make it do specific things. Instead, we're trying to get out of the way and let breath happen by itself, which is not always as easy as it seems, especially when you start out. Because there's a tendency that you want to go in and control the breath. One of the things that can make it easier is that, first of all, we don't focus on one specific small point. We're trying to make our awareness wide. We're trying to feel almost a field of the whole body as you're breathing in and breathing out. You might not feel a specific sensation of breath happening, but you're aware the breath is happening. So I want you to start moving your awareness to your upper torso, or wherever you feel that there's a feeling of breath happening. Your whole torso, your stomach area, where is there movement when you're breathing? And keep your mind wide, not narrow. Keep it open and relaxed. If you feel any kind of forcing, then try to relax into just the breath. A common thing that happens when we start observing the breath is that the breath starts listening to you. So all of a sudden you're controlling the breath, even though you're trying not to, because you're observing it. And the way to separate from this is simply to observe it. And we will later do an exercise where we count the breath, which can help with further disconnecting from the breath and just seeing breath happen. And remember that for the next 20 minutes that we'll be sitting here, there is nothing you need to solve, there is nothing you need to figure out. Whatever happened before, if that was 5 minutes before the session, 5 days, 5 months, 5 years, or 5 lifetimes, it doesn't matter. And whatever's going to happen 5 minutes after, 5 days after, 5 years after, or 5 lifetimes from now. It doesn't matter. The only thing you need to focus on is just now. And just being here in this shiny, sparkly space with your breath. The joy of sitting and just observing your breath. That's the only thing you need to do. And it can truly be a peaceful, calm, relaxing experience, just as well as it can be a terrifying, petrifying, and very scary experience at times. But the more you focus on just letting breath happen and turning towards joy, towards appreciation, the easier it will be. So give yourself permission that for the next 20 minutes, it's okay. You don't need to figure anything out. You don't even need to figure this meditation out. If you can't let breath happen by itself, that's fine. Whatever happens, happens. And if your breath is staggering and jumping around, then that's what your breath is doing. That's okay. Also start looking at any kind of tension that you're carrying. Tightness in the shoulders, maybe in your jaws, your face, shoulders. Let go of all the tension you find there. Any kind of tension in your chest, your lower back, your pelvic area. Just release all of it. All the tension, all the idea that you need to do something. And your legs, lower parts of your legs, just release all of it together with your feet. And just sit relaxed and observe your breath. And to make it a little bit easier, we'll count the breath from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. So I'll do it together with you one time and then you can continue by yourself. So breathing in, breathing out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. 2. Breathing in, breathing out. 3. Breathing in, breathing out. 4. Breathing in and breathing out. 5. Breathing in, breathing out. 6. Breathing in, breathing out. 7. Breathing in, breathing out. 8. Breathing in, breathing out. 7. Breathing in, breathing out. 6. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. 4. Breathing in, breathing out. 3. Breathing in, breathing out. 2. Breathing in, breathing out. 1. Now keep counting your breath from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1. As you're breathing in, breathing out. 1. Breathing in, breathing out. I'm going to ask you a question shortly. And I want you to look for the answer, but also realize that the answer is completely unimportant. The main thing that I want you to do is look and see how your awareness changes. So I want you to ask yourself, what is my next thought? Just ask yourself the question, what is my next thought? And then be quiet and listen. See if you can find the way that you're widening your awareness, relaxing your awareness, and being open. There's no tension, there's no effort. You're just waiting for whatever will happen in this moment. See if you can sink into that feeling and just sit with whatever is coming next and wait. What will happen now? What will happen now? What will happen now? Just wait effortlessly, relaxed, and with ease, not expecting anything, not needing anything, and just ask, what will happen now? And if you want to, you can just keep on sitting with that stillness. Or if you want to, you could also go back to observing your breath. If you could feel joy right now, what would that feel like? If you could feel happiness, what would that feel like? And we're not looking for happiness because this happened, or joy because I got this. If there's any kind of tension or sense of direction, then it's not quite what we're looking for. Instead, can you feel that peaceful, effortless feeling of lying in the sun in your bed and the sun is shining through the window? It's quiet in the house, your stomach is full, you're comfortable, you're relaxed. The warmth of the sun is making you feel drowsy. And you have your best clothes on, the most comfortable clothes you have. As you're lying there and just sinking into the niceness of the moment, all of a sudden you feel a feeling spreading from your torso area, from your stomach, It's a peaceful joy. It's a quiet happiness without direction, without object. Just the joy of being. What would that feel like if you felt it right now? Happiness without direction. Joy despite of circumstances. Just now. Instead of getting up or completely stopping the meditation, I want you to open your eyes and choose one thing to look at. Preferably one of the things you looked at before when we did the 5-4-3-2-1 method. I'm looking at the sock that was lying on my floor. Just keep on looking at that and see, does it look different? Can you see how it's just there? There's no need to move it. There's no need to change it. It's perfect just the way it is. If there's any need to shift it, to make it different than it is, see what that distortion comes from. And just let go of it. And observe. It's just there. And again, if you're feeling any kind of tension that you're trying to make something feel a certain way, then that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for ease and being relaxed and just observing. And the scene is only the scene. We're just using our sense of eye, of looking. And then after that, feel something that you felt before. Does it feel different than the first time around? Is the movement faster or maybe slower? Is it more nuanced? Is it different somehow or not? And listen and hear if you can hear any of the sounds you heard before. Then move on to your sense of smell. Can you smell any smell? And does it smell different than before? Finally, use your sense of taste. Can you taste anything right now? And then if you want, you can observe a bit more, or you can just start moving slowly. Drink a cup of tea or ask a question if you have any. But try to bring that sense of ease and peacefulness and stillness, this calmness that it's okay, it's fine, you don't have to stress. It's okay to just be. Bring that with you. How did that feel for everyone? It was interesting. I've thought about that. I mean, I just thought about that now, that it's interesting to do the exercise before and then after, because we do experience reality differently just after you've had a sitting. At least most people do. So I'm curious if anyone felt any difference in looking at things or feeling things. For me, it tends to slow down. It's like, oh, I'm less hectic in my movements. Hectic might be exaggerated, but I'm slower. It's just, there's a sense of, it just feels more there. See, Much is saying, this was by far my favorite meditation thus far. It was the first time I really deeply could connect to the feeling of joy. Oh, nice. I think it's also, it's not just the meditation, Mats. You've actually been practicing outside of sitting, so you're starting to feel what is it we're talking about. Because I say joy and happiness, but I don't really mean that in the ordinary sense. It's not something you do. It's something that's always there. When you get out of the way, that's what's left. I think a lot of people, especially in Buddhism, believe that if you disappear, what's left is this neutral numbness. There's like nothing there. But that's not true. If you lean towards this joy, that's something that's always there. And when you do a lot of vipassana, you kind of snip that away. You never let it come up. Mindful Mama is saying, I really like this guiding. Thank you. I'm happy to hear that. So different every time we sit. Sometimes it's really difficult to just observe, and other times it's really easy. Ajay is saying, peace that passes understanding, as the Christians say. Beautiful. Jack, always a pleasure to be here. You too, Jack. Mats, I have been meditating daily and really tried to keep the teachings in mind these last few weeks. Nice. there is a momentum. So first of all, the idea that we can enjoy being here without a specific thing happening outside, or maybe we should say despite what your reality looks like, is absurd to a lot of people. It's just so natural in us that no, of course, if I get that, then I will feel happy. If this happens, then I will feel happy. It's just this deep belief that we got from childhood, like everyone told us, you do this, or we got taught also by our parents, like if you're not quiet, you're not going to do this. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. Like my kids, they're misbehaving. I'm like, okay, if you do what we say, then you will get the ice cream after. Oh my goodness, I'm such a bad parent. I hope not, but it is difficult and it's natural. It seems to be the way the self works. It's just made to make you feel uncomfortable so that you'll do something else. And I think it's a survival mechanism to begin with, but that's besides the point, because that I don't know. But we can really look at that and let go of it, but it takes time, and the more you do it, the easier it gets, because as soon as you start breaking, like, hey, wait a minute, I'm feeling good for no specific reason. I'm just feeling good. How is that possible? And that feeling of fulfillment, of just ease, of just enjoyment. And the best part is when you're starting to feel that more and more. We were talking about law of attraction when we started, like things just start coming to you, not because you're trying to get things, but life is just much easier, especially like we were talking about before, much approaching a woman. If you're feeling like this and you go up to a woman, then it's going to be much more enjoyable to talk to her, and you'll find out much quicker if it's someone you actually want to spend time with. And mindful mama, I'm just so tired that I'm dozing off every time, going to watch these videos later on during daytime. Yeah, that's the thing. There's tiredness, and then there's also tiredness that comes from meditation that is not actually tiredness, which is a thing as well. We can discuss that another time. But it is good. The more we do it, the easier it gets, and the easier it gets, the easier it gets. And then eventually life will just kind of float on, and it will be like when you were a kid and life was just easy. You didn't have all these things pushing on you, pressing you down, like, oh, you need to do this. This has to happen a specific way, and if it doesn't, then it's so bad, it's so terrible. When you break that by just enjoying being here, and not by, oh, I want that, but actually just, it's something inside. It's not something you do, and it's so difficult for me to explain this. I'm still struggling with what kind of words to use and how to explain it, but I think I said something about the feeling of lying in the bed when the sun is on you. For me, that's really, I remember that. And I used to call that happy feet. There's this feeling in my stomach. It's like, oh, it's so nice to be here. There's just opportunities. Nice. Very nice sitting. I enjoyed tonight, and I think I will sleep very nicely tonight. This is Monday. Yes, we'll meet Thursday again. And have a great week, and try this. Really try throughout the week to see, can you feel joy despite what's happening outside. Break that link that seems so absolute that no, I need it to be this way. And we're not talking, oh, I'm happy that I lost my car in an accident or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, can you enjoy now despite you losing your car in that accident? And not, oh, I'm happy that I survived the accident, or it could have been worse. No, really just feel enjoyment despite what's happening outside of you. Break that link that is not true and just enjoy. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you on Thursday, and have a great week.